Welcome back. Another segment of Mike's Top 7. This week, the toughest defenders that I ever faced. Now, this is a good list, and it's going to recollect some of these guys who you probably haven't heard of in a while, but I'll always reference this. Go back to Google and see how good these guys were, and you'll get some good insight. I'm Michael Vick, and this is QB7. Number 7, Michael Strahan. Now, Michael Strahan is on my list, not because we worked together at Fox or because I know him personally, but because this guy left me with a sore back for 4 months. Him, Urlacher, and a couple other guys came into the Georgia Dome and they just went ham. I'm talking about ran through our offensive line, not taking away from anything that my guys ever done. It just wasn't an efficient day for them. I got beat up, got knocked around, and all I heard was Michael Strahan yapping the whole game. Sore back for 4 months, I'll never forget it, and every chance I get, I let him know. Number 6, Julius Peppers. Now, my brother used to refer to this situation as the fox chasing the rabbit. He was the fox, I was the rabbit. Quick, shifty, should be able to get away, but could never get away from this guy. Man, when I say Julius was always on my heels, long arms, big scary frame, to walk to the line of scrimmage and look to this guy to my left or my right made me super uncomfortable. And regardless of whoever we had at left tackle or right tackle, he always found a way to dominate and just gave me pure D hell on the field. Julius Peppers is number 6 because he's a Hall of Famer and he was a great defensive end. Number 5, Brian Dawkins. Now I will say this, if it wasn't for Brian playing the safety position, I probably would have a Super Bowl ring. We had to face the Philadelphia Eagles in 2004 for the NFC Championship game, and this guy was all over the field. But I will say this, the hardest hit I ever took in my life was because of Brian Dawkins. 2003 playoff game in Philadelphia at the Vet. The guy left me seeing stars, and that's all I can say. I seen stars, I seen the sun, the moon, quasars, whatever you want to refer to it as. The guy rung my bell. Rough off season too, we lost the game. I think I had a swollen wrist, a swollen hand, but this guy could cover ground and he was one of the greatest safeties to ever play the game. I have a ton of admiration for him and the way he played and the leadership that he brought to the game of football. Brian Dawkins, number 5. Number 4, Warren Sapp. Now, it'll be a couple guys on this list that I always refer to as guys who was just backbreakers for me and the reason why I didn't get to a championship. Warren Sapp was one of those guys. Anchored in the middle, couldn't move him. You put any guard or tackle in front of him, he was unblockable. And it was just unfortunate for me that I had to face this guy 2 times a year when I was in Atlanta, on the road and at home. He didn't make it easy for me. Actually, I thought he got up for the challenge of playing against me. Him, Derek Brooks, John Lynch, Rondé Barber. I mean, you're talking about a group of guys that was really good at what they did. Warren was great with his hands, and he was just a big fella hanging in the middle. Immovable object. We couldn't do anything with him. He was one of the best to ever play the game, certainly in the Hall of Fame. Number 3, Charles Woodson, the first corner to make this list. Now, I only played against Charles twice, but what I do remember is not being able to complete a pass on this guy. I think Peerless Price connected on one deep ball that Peerless made a great catch on, and I happened to make a good throw, thank God, but Charles Woodson was in the right position. Throughout the rest of the game, his man coverage was decent. He was in lock, followed Peerless Price everywhere, and was just a guy that I could not ignore on the field. His presence was felt. I always had to make sure that managing the game, I knew what Charles Woodson was. He was a guy who, loved the game of football, put his all into it, and certainly wanted to be the best at his position. That's why he gave 110% effort. Charles Woodson, one of the toughest defenders I had to throw the ball against. Number 2, Brian Urlacher. I was never able to get away from this guy. I mean, from sideline to sideline, he could roam. He was 6'4", 250 pounds, and could move. And the one thing that I always notice, you go to a game, you're in Soldier Field, you're playing against the Chicago Bears, Brian Urlacher's gonna come out and he's gonna talk really nice to you. He's gonna be your best friend. How you doing, buddy? He's gonna bait you in, and I'm like, this is my guy. He's a good dude. He's not gonna go hard. We get on the field and he won't let me get a yard. We played him one time and it was like 3 degrees outside at Soldier Field. And this guy just put it on me that night. And to add fuel to the fire, not to the fact that it was already, 0 degrees out. This guy was tackling with everything he had. I'm talking sideline to sideline, doing everything that he needed to do to make sure that defensively they stopped our offense. It was not an easy day. I hated every minute of it. I love playing against Brian, and I wish I could have beat him at least once. Number 1, Ray Lewis. Now, fortunately for me, every time we played the Ravens when I was young in Atlanta, Ray Lewis was on the sideline hurt. I broke my leg in 2003, a short story. I went to talk to Ray Lewis before the game. I said, Ray, how long y'all playing? Ray said, as long as you play. This is a preseason game. I'm like, whoa. I mean, not a quarter, 2 quarters. He wouldn't give me any insight. I go out in that game and I break my leg, not by Ray, but from somebody else. The only reason I broke my ankle is because I was scared that Ray was going to get me. Ray Lewis was the ultimate monster linebacker in the middle. Anybody who ever played with this guy knows the gift that it was to be around him, what he brought to the game, and certainly the only player in my lifetime that I was ever afraid of. Ray Lewis is number 1 on my list because he was a great linebacker, because I was scared of this man. I was scared to face Ray Lewis. Now, we faced him in 2012. We beat him. I fumbled. He picked it up. I got some get back. I slammed him to the ground. It was a great day. We beat the Baltimore Ravens at home in Philly. And Ray was a little older, and I kind of took advantage of him. I was older too, but he's certainly the greatest defender ever to play the game.